There are many flaws in our country's democracy. That is not even up for debate. The biggest global scandal of 2025 exploded right in Donald Trump's face when the Epstein Files were made public. Many names have come out. Some people believe the countdown for American President Donald Trump has started. It is even being said that a desperate Trump is trying to distract people by creating new wars, sometimes Sudan, sometimes Nigeria, sometimes Venezuela. Despite months of effort, Trump and his entire administration could not stop the Epstein Files from reaching the public. Under pressure from Democrats, media, and people, Congress passed a law last month forcing their release. After that, the U.S. Justice Department started releasing thousands of new files. So far, 1.3 million pages have been released. These new files include new names and new facts, from pop star Michael Jackson to billionaire Bill Gates to political theorist Noam Chomsky. Everyone's information is exposed. In the earlier batch, people didn't really see Donald Trump's name, but that gap has now been filled. Just before Christmas, the Justice Department released another 11,000 files. In these, Trump's name has appeared not once, not twice, but more than 600 times. These files don't just show strong links between Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. They even raise suspicion about Trump possibly having a role in Epstein's death in prison. What used to be doubt is becoming belief for many people. This entire controversy shows both the best and worst sides of American democracy. On one hand, releasing these files proves that even the most powerful person, someone who controls nuclear power, is still accountable to the U.S. people and the opposition. The latest development is that the U.S. Department of Justice has released more than 11,000 new documents this week as part of the files. Many of these are redacted, meaning names, faces, and many details are censored. Congress allowed redactions to protect victims and ongoing investigations, but because so much has been censored, the DOJ is facing criticism from both political parties and even victims' families. Families say the government doesn't really want the truth to come out. Even with all these redactions, a lot of new, dark, and shocking information about American politics is now visible. First, it has been revealed that Donald Trump traveled with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on Epstein's private jet at least 8 times between 1993 and 1996. According to newly released documents, another convicted child offender, Ghislaine Maxwell, was also present on these flights. She was an extremely influential woman, and many connections appear to link back to this circle. In addition, there are records of Trump being listed on some private trips with his family as well. But there was one flight where only Trump and Epstein were passengers, and 2 other flights where multiple women were also on board. These details had never been publicly known before. This is the first time such information has officially become public. So now the question arises, if Trump and Epstein truly had such a close personal friendship, then what exactly was Trump repeatedly visiting Epstein's private island for? Clearly not for anything innocent or casual. However, simply traveling with someone on a private jet is not a crime in itself, so this document alone may not be the biggest concern for Trump. But then another document appears, which raises far more serious questions. In this document, a victim's complaint to the FBI is revealed. She states that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked her when she was only 13 years old, and at the time she was also pregnant. She further claims that during this trafficking situation, a child was born and then killed immediately afterward. According to her statement, the child's body was allegedly disposed of in Lake Michigan from a yacht. In this testimony, Donald Trump, who was then a rising young businessman, is mentioned as being present at the time, and he is listed as a witness in the complaint. Now, the question is, if even a small part of these claims are true, why did Trump keep this hidden from the world for so many years? Why did he deny having a close relationship with Epstein? If he truly knew what Epstein was doing, shouldn't he have exposed him long ago? As someone considered presidential material, this would have been expected of him. If he had spoken out earlier, perhaps many more innocent girls could have been saved from Epstein's criminal network. Among the released documents, there is also a handwritten letter that appears to have been written by Jeffrey Epstein to another convicted sex offender, Larry Nassar. In this letter, Epstein allegedly tells Nassar not to worry, claiming even President Donald Trump prefers young girls, implying normalization of their behavior. This letter allegedly dates back to 2019, when Donald Trump was serving as President of the United States. Just days after this letter was written, Epstein died in jail under mysterious circumstances. American authorities officially labeled it a suicide, but suspicions have continued to grow as more files surface. After this letter became public, the FBI and Department of Justice quickly stepped in to defend Trump, calling the letter fake. Ironically, it was the Justice Department itself that released this letter. Now they claim the prison address was written incorrectly and that the handwriting does not match Epstein's, similar to how they argue the signature under Trump's name in the letter is not authentic. However, the newly released files strongly suggest signs of a cover-up. It appears as soon as Trump returned to power, the administration may have begun working to bury the Epstein files. Earlier this year, FBI Director Kash Patel stated in a congressional hearing that Epstein did not have any client list and there were no identified clients receiving underage girls. But according to new documents, the FBI in fact did have the names of at least 10 co-conspirators linked to Epstein's trafficking network. Earlier, these names and details were not publicly known, but now they have surfaced. This also raises questions about the FBI and Kash Patel, whether they knowingly lied in front of the Senate hearing committee. Apart from this, in the files released last week, Trump's name and pictures appear. In one of the photos, we also see a check issued by President Trump with a caption, "Once in a blue moon." The documents suggest that this amount was allegedly given by Trump to Jeffrey Epstein to buy a girl. At least many people in America believe this. Now, tell me, how are Americans still supporting such a dramatic president? What's going on in America? But because of heavy redactions, it is still hard to clearly identify who is guilty and to what extent. DOJ keeps saying redactions are to protect victims, which is important. But they didn't even redact properly. People showed that simply copying text from the PDF reveals hidden content because they only visually blacked it out without removing the text layer. Hackers are also exploiting this, spreading fake unredacted files full of malware, so people must be careful online. So that was about Trump, but many other names have appeared in these Epstein documents. Trump is not the only high-profile name. Prince Andrew, who was removed from the UK royal family, appears multiple times, especially after his 2002 Peru trip. Documents show clear discussions about availability of girls and their presence. Prince Andrew had already been stripped of his royal titles for his association with Epstein. Apart from Andrew, former President Bill Clinton also appears in these recently released files. He is seen with young women whose faces are blacked out. Other pictures include musicians like Mick Jagger, Michael Jackson, Diana Ross with Epstein, although no wrongdoing has yet been proven against them. Some other pictures include actor Kevin Spacey, comedian Chris Tucker, billionaire Richard Branson. These were found well cataloged in Epstein's various residences. The question arises, why were these photos kept so carefully? What was the purpose? Looking at further names, it becomes clear why it took so long for these photos and files to come out. In Epstein's party photos, you also see Bill Gates, filmmaker Woody Allen, Google co-founder Sergey Brin, philosopher Noam Chomsky, and Trump associate Steve Bannon, powerful figures. With such influential people involved, it's obvious efforts were made to bury this. But no one tried harder than Donald Trump to stop these files from being released. Why? To understand how damaging the Epstein files could be for U.S. politics, a quick history recap is needed. Jeffrey Epstein started as a private school teacher in the 1970s, then moved into investment banking, eventually creating his own firm in 1982, reportedly serving girls-only clients worth over $1 billion. By the 1990s, Epstein had massive wealth and properties worldwide.
Many questioned how he gained so much money so fast, whether legitimately or through intelligence work and blackmail operations. His hidden life came out in 2005 when underage girls accused him of paying them for sexual activities. It was revealed that Epstein abused minors and also supplied them to wealthy friends. Despite serious evidence, powerful connections helped him avoid major punishment. He struck a secret plea deal, receiving just 13 months in jail and being registered as a sex offender. This deal later was criticized as extremely poor judgment. Interestingly, the attorney behind it later became Trump's labor secretary. The case resurfaced during the 2018 Me Too movement when more victims came forward. Under Trump's presidency, new investigations began, and Epstein was charged in New York for sex trafficking minors. While the case was ongoing,
in August 2019, Epstein was found unconscious in prison and later declared dead. Authorities labeled it suicide, but suspicion exploded nationwide. Independent forensic experts stated evidence suggested homicide, not suicide. Footage mysteriously disappeared, cameras malfunctioned, and his cellmate was removed a day earlier, fueling massive suspicion. Later, it was revealed that the prison department claimed to not even have the footage anymore. Epstein had complained his cellmate might kill him. Many unanswered questions remain. It became clear that something big was being hidden. Throughout this year, Trump worked hard to continue the cover-up instead of ensuring transparency. Despite promising for years that he'd reveal the truth once in power, Trump did not release the Epstein Files. Instead, he diverted attention and attacked critics. Public pressure grew, forcing Congress to attempt passing a bill to legally mandate release of the Epstein Files. House Speaker Mike Johnson delayed it, but eventually failed. Trump was legally forced to sign the bill. Full disclosure became mandatory. Yet suspicions remain that documents involving Trump are being hidden or heavily redacted. While millions of pages of documents have now surfaced, people are questioning how earlier investigations were closed while claiming no evidence existed. The Biden administration also didn't release the files earlier, likely because Democrats were also implicated, such as former President Bill Clinton appearing in several photos. Ultimately, both political parties failed, but the American people forced transparency. Still, without sufficient legal power and numbers, Trump remains in office and protected. These files may weaken his moral authority, but may not remove him from power. Upcoming elections will determine whether this marks Trump's downfall or survival.